All right, folks. I hope you can hear that. That was my clapping. I'm trying to do. I'm trying to integrate with this software and learn it. So I haven't been able to get any external sounds actually on my podcast without editing. So hopefully you can hear the clapping. Um, Welcome to the Common Sense Conservative. My name is Scott Brock. Today's January 16th. I think it's Martin Luther King Day, and so day off for a lot of folks, and not for me. I had to go out and do a little bit of work today. Um, but this topic today is something that it's kind of been gnawing at me for a while. So I thought I'd bring it up. And since today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I've never been one that had to deal with federal holidays because I've never truthfully, even my time in the military, it wasn't like it was a day off. Most of the time I was deployed. So, we were working and, but having been around folks and having someone in the family who deals with federal regulation and in banking, etc., I've understand federal holidays for, a lot of people. It's a big deal. Um, for me, I appreciate Dr. Martin Luther King and thought he was a exceptional speaker, someone who was able to nonviolently articulate his thoughts and drive emotion into another human being and get them to understand what he was saying. And that's an art form, and he was probably the premier person at it, that I've ever been around. And so I think no matter what side of the spectrum you fall on, you have to uh, give the man a little respect. So that's my stuff for Martin Luther King Day. So today I want to talk about what I'm calling this is wolves, and you're probably thinking, I'm going to be talking about the four-legged hairy type, but I'm not. What I'm referencing is what I think. Uh, I'm just watching the degradation of people's attitudes toward other human beings. I'm watching the degradation of uh, any and most things polite. Uh, and I'm watching the degradation of how human beings treat other human beings. And, for me, it was always I always heard growing up, uh, you know, you weren't raised in a barn. And I always heard you weren't raised by a pack of wolves. So I'm to the point now where I'm starting to think that the majority of folks are raised by wolves. And, like I said, uh, I may not have had the best childhood growing up. And frankly, I would say that I probably had one of the worst childhoods of anybody that you are likely to know. I had a very, very bad childhood. And, but I was taught respect and honor and a few other things, even though it wasn't necessarily given to me. It may have been just a way to smack me around a little bit, but I was given a very narrow set of rules. And yes sirs and yes ma'am. I'm 55 years old and I still say yes sir and yes ma'am. People, you know, at restaurants who serve me, I don't care what your age is. I'm a yes sir, yes ma'am, always to someone who is superior to me in age, and then always to people that I respect. So, again, those are small little pieces uh, that were ingrained in me um, as I was raised. So, uh, I can't imagine saying some of the things that people say nowadays. I just picture my mother, smacking me upside the head with a belt or a shoe or, like in her case, an ashtray. So, you know, um, but I'm shocked at how where we are at, how people treat other people, and they do it in many ways. A lot of it is what comes out of their mouth on social media. Social media has taken us down this path where we feel like we can pretty much say whatever we want. There's really not a repercussions for what we say. And, I've put out a meme more than once. It's a picture of a guy laying flat on his back, and it said, this is Joe Schmo. He thought he could, talk smack on social media without repercussions. And, people say, oh, that's violent. Well, the fact of the matter is that typically those people that are doing all that, when you are confronted with them or face to face with them, they tend to soften up quite a bit. But social media has just allowed people to really treat other people badly, and it's a shame. I mean, social media is garbage. I don't care what platform you're on; it is total garbage, and it is consuming people's lives. It gives them the ability to just lash out at other people with no regard, and I'm just flabbergasted by how people talk and want to treat other people, and and then I'm shocked at how people want to force things on other people. This is talking about the political side of things, where people want to take their views and force them down the throats of other people. And it just having been around the world and seen dictatorships and communism and socialist type behavior. Um, I've seen Christians be persecuted and had their heads chopped off simply because of their religion. They look exactly like the person. I mean, identical to the person that's chopping their head off, but because of their philosophical or their Christian belief and not being Muslim, they were persecuted, and vice versa. I've seen it the other way around too. So now we have that same thing happening in the United States. And what I can attest and speak to here in Idaho is the fact that, really, again, there's another great meme out there of somebody cramming a Bible down somebody's throat. And I just absolutely, it just reminds me of all my deployments and everything that we sort of worked to stop. I've seen Sunni and Shia Muslims killing each other simply because they are a different sect of the Muslim religion, and I think that's kind of where we're going. It's just shocking to me that that is the path that the United States of America has got to. We are not coming together. I saw some Facebook memories of mine 10 years ago talking about how I felt Barack Obama, I believe it was 10 years ago, how Barack Obama had kind of divided the country. And I personally feel that he was the big divider. And, I think during his presidency, he really did not have a drastic effect on me. And, I've said it many times that the only trip he ever made to Kabul, I was actually on that detail. So, I was charged with, protecting that man to a certain extent. And I would have done so for the office. But I didn't think that his actual fiscal policies and other policies that he put into place while he was president um, really destroyed America, but I thought his social policies did. How he separated and put a wedge between the average citizen and police departments, especially in black communities and things of that nature. So it was terrible, and I hated seeing it. And but now we fast forward, 2023, and I see it. It's like in every city. It's in every state, literally. When you really start to research, you'll see that the same issues that I see here in Idaho with different groups trying to force their ideas on other people. And I'm talking left and right, absolutely. I'm just calling things as I see them, balls and strikes. Um, you know, I know where the impetus came from. I know where it started. It started COVID really just it didn't start there, but I'm just saying that COVID uh, put us on steroids, and it really divided us. And for instance, I did not take the COVID vaccine, but I don't give a flying fuck if you did or not. And I did not think that businesses should force that on other people. I just thought it was a dumb business strategy to do that. I didn't think it would pan out in the long run, and I was probably right. In any of my businesses, I never would have forced anybody to take a shot. And if I would have thought that taking those shots really truly would have protected my family, I would have absolutely did it. But I, with my background and my knowledge and my having been around the world, I just didn't feel that it was appropriate. And I also, I had had some issues with heart, and I didn't even want to take a chance. So I just didn't feel it was anything I needed, and I thought I was in good enough health that I didn't need it. But I don't give a shit whether you took it or not. And I still have a state senator who basically I ran against, who is elected, and she is a senator, and the people spoke and they put her in place. Cannot get over the fact that um, that there was a shot out there. And I got to tell you, during COVID here in Idaho, it didn't affect me at all, like at all. I mean, people tell me to wear a mask. I didn't go. I didn't go to Costco for like ever. And, I think I had a mask on 3 times. I've said this a million times. Once when my wife was in a car accident, I had to go in the hospital. Once for my son in the dentist's office, and then another time for my wife having, some medical issues. So that was it. And I complied. They're a business. They asked me to put it on. I put it on. No big deal. I don't want to go back and destroy that business simply because they made me do it. That was their business decision. But we can't get over this. So that moved us light years forward. Um, really, uh, it put us on steroids. And in the division, Obama made us here. COVID put us here. I'm not even out of the screen, and that's where we're at. And so now that division out of the screen is right and left. What I'm seeing more and more now is the division, we're back here, is the division within parties. So now you have the far left, the BLM, the Antifas, trying to crush the socialists, the AOCs, trying to crush and change the policies of the Democratic Party. And then I see it on the right side too, where I have libertarians in there who, in Idaho, they have been organized, they've been well funded, and they communicate to each other. If you look at it from a perspective of how they managed to take over, they did it. And I mean, you got to say kudos on the fact that they stuck to their guns and they got what they wanted. But their goal really was to fracture the Republican Party, and they did so. And there's no going back from that. So now, no matter what side of the party you're on, you still have fractures, and so you have folks within each party just fucking hating each other and talking shit and nonstop. Like it's to the if you there's probably thoughts of physical violence on other people within your own party simply because they don't think like you. And I'm just shocked. I mean, I just, and maybe it's been going on for a while and I haven't seen it because I'm not deeply, deeply connected to politics. I know what's going on. I try to stay abreast, but it doesn't ruin or run my entire life. So I don't know. It's super interesting to me that this fracture is happening even within the own party, and and how they're forcing their rules down people's throat. So wow. And I've listened to podcasts and read stuff on Christian fundamentalism and confrontational politics and all that. And what I'm seeing is all of that wrapped together. And there's just a complete and total division. We've turned into wolves. So when you're in that pack of wolves, everybody has a pecking order. But understand that even the alpha, and understand that not every pack of wolf has an alpha. People don't realize that, but they don't. A lot of times they just work in unison together as a team. However, the minute one of them's injured, they all jump on and they will kill him, him or her. They will kill the weak, and that's what they're doing here. Is these people have turned to wolves. How they treat each other uh, is just astonishing to me, and the lack of give a fuck about it is astonishing. They just really don't care. I've got multiple little factions within a party that are out at libraries and just psycho. And even the last school board meeting that I watched in Caldwell, where all the hoopla was about, what I really was focused on was how the people in the back were screaming at the other people. It's almost as if they wanted to do harm to them because those people were either indifferent to them or didn't think like them, or they didn't even give them the opportunity. And they've never even met these people. They've never had a conversation. Most of them have never been to a meeting before, ever. So I'm just shocked at how people do that. And it just absolutely blows my mind. And I've got one particular um, person on social media who just treats me like a bag of ass. And he's a child. He's a kid. He's never really had any productive life whatsoever. And he has his own little emotional turmoil within his body. But Christ, he doesn't just do it to me, he does it to everybody. Everybody. And I don't know how somebody like that lives. How do you function? How do you come home to a wife and children and be a good dad and go to ball games and all that when you literally cannot stand or hate every single person who doesn't think to the nth degree like you? Just shocks me. So that means that if they're on the side of the road with a flat tire, you're just going to fucking drive right by them. That's what you're going to do? No, I don't give a shit what color your fucking hair is. If you got a flat tire on the side of the road, I'm going to stop and help you. If I see you having a problem on, anywhere, I'm going to help. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what color your fucking hair is. I'm going to help. You're a human being. And these people have never seen the really bad side of human beings. And I have. I have seen and recovered the bodies where the head has been separated from the body. And when somebody does that with a knife, like, it's not easy to do. It's really hard. And when you see the depths of what people will do to each other in a world where the rule of law is gone, I'm starting to see that here. I'm starting to see little pieces of it here. And it scares me. And it doesn't scare me for me. It really doesn't. It just doesn't. I'm a top of the food chain alpha. And I have zero worries about being able to take care of myself. Nada. So, but I worry about everybody else. Like, man, why do we treat people this way? It's just shocking. There is no ability to have a conversation. I mentioned on the podcast with Gregory Graff that I have had conversations with terrorists. And at some point, you got to be able to conversate. You got to, number one, you're extracting information the entire time. You're shaping everything to try to pull as much information you can. But, maybe you can maybe you can flip them. Maybe you can get them to think, it's worth a conversation before you have to, resort to drastic measures. But holy mackerel, we've turned into wolves, you know? And like I said, I understand why everybody says, oh, the lockdown. I didn't lock down one single day. I got up every day and did what I wanted. It did not affect me. I promise you. I did whatever I want. I went everywhere I normally go. We worked. My businesses were doing just fine. We had a good year. 2 years. Didn't bother us at all. We just got up and did what we want. So I just don't understand how people, and I know there were people out there that were affected and shut down, and I feel really bad for them. I do. And I would have never, if I was in a position to make those decisions. I would have never done that to them. Of course not. But holy mackerel, like these people are just taking the smallest social issue and just beating it, and they cannot get over it. Um, so I've seen our state change, and I think that is the influx of people from out of state. you know, um, I, I've been to California, I've been to Texas, I've been everywhere, and I've seen how people live. And I always relate it to fish. A brook trout and a brown trout, it's the same fish. It's a fish. But I'll tell you what, they bite different. They act different. They're fish, but they're different. And they're in the same river. They're in the same exact piece of water. And I can tell you that there are spectacular Californians that are my friend, and I'm proud and happy to call them my friends. And that goes for Oregonians and Texans and everything. So I've got people all over the country that I love and I deeply care about. And but it was a political migration to move here for a lot. It was an economic migration for others, and the political migration. Those folks are the same people who sit in their subdivision in their house and complained about everything to the TV. They're just so beat up. They're just so beat up. They're a shelter dog, is what they are. They've been in a shelter, they've been in a kennel, they've been locked up, they've been treated like shit their entire life, and they fucking hate it. And now they hate, and they blame that on everyone around them. And now that they've been released and they have a new home and a new surroundings and a new family, they still lash out and have the potential to bite someone. And they don't need to. Like, if you hate those people, do you? I mean, I see these people hate. It's hate. And even as bad as I have been treated over the last couple years running for office, I don't hate them. I just don't. I don't have time for that. I got other shit I want to do besides hate. These people can't get over it. They're shelter dogs, and they cannot realize that they're in a better environment and that they don't need to hate everybody. You can get your stuff across, your information out of your head, like Dr. Martin Luther King. It goes from here and it comes out your fucking mouth, and you can do it without hating people. You can. And frankly, you get more done, you get more accomplished. So um, I'm worried about the state. I'll be fine. No matter what they do around me, I'm going to be okay. The country, no matter what's going on, I'm going to be okay. But I want us all to be okay. I'm worried about the country. I'm not an insurrectionist guy. I don't think I should take over the government. I'm not looking for a national divorce. I think that's all fucking bullshit. So the last thing you want is people like me without the rule of law around. So it's just not going to be good. Or the tens of thousands of millions of people like me who are out there. You guys, there's a lot of people who talk a lot of shit, and I'm just able to back it up. So I just don't want to see any of that. I love my country, and I care about the people who sacrificed their life for this country to get us where we're at. And then I'm watching other people want to tear the fucking country down. So I'm worried. I'm keeping an eye on it. And, there are certain changes in my lifestyle that are happening, so trying to keep a level head and trying to lead by example. But I'm worried. We've all turned into fucking wolves, and it's pulling me in. I got to tell you, it's starting to pull me in. So I can tell you this: I will not fall prey, but I also will not be pushed around, and I'm going to continue to give back. And I want all you people who spend your entire day obsessed with hating and thinking the government's chasing you and all this. Number one, you're batshit fucking crazy. You're not that important. You're just not. You're really not that important. So get over it. But do something good, man. Do something good. These people that are just obsessed with this have never volunteered for the poor. They've never worked at the food bank or the shelter. They've never done anything like that. Get out and do it. I mean, just do something good. So I'm going to close with that. Got another podcast that I'm doing. My hunting podcast is up next. I just wanted to let you know that I think we've turned into fucking wolves and we need to stop it. It's just ridiculous. Now, me saying that is going to make zero change. It's not going to change. I'm a pessimist. It's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse. It's going to continue to compound over and over and worse and worse. Where it's going, I don't know. It doesn't look good, but this is the United States of America. We've been through worse. All right, that's it for me. Stop blabbing. Get ready to do my other podcast. Thanks, folks. January 16th, 2023. Signing off. BrockForIdaho.com is where the pod page where you can find this recording. This is Scott Brock, the Common Sense Conservative. Signing out.